All right, Mrs. Reed, now if you'll join us over here, as I think you probably know, on the basis of this rather quick look at you, which the panel has had, and the quick look that you've had at the panel, we give them one free guess as to what your line might be, and we always begin the free guesses with Miss Kilgallen.
I think Mrs. Reed operates a motel.
A motel, Mr. Allen.
I think Mrs. Reed makes butterscotch.
Miss Francis.
I think Mrs. Reed runs a reducing parlor.
Mr. Sir.
She manufactures castanets.
No, I'm afraid not. Interesting answers, but none of them right. So we'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mrs. Reed. At the same time, we'll tell them what her line is. Well, Mrs. Reed, the panel has got to dig. I think you know what the rules are. Every time you get a no answer from the panel, why, we rack up $5 here. 10 of these no's, and you have won the game. Mrs. Reed is self-employed. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Steve Allen.
Nice reaction. She must play second base for the Dodgers. Is there a service of any kind connected with your work, Mrs. Reed? Might I ever come to you for these services? I might?
It evidently seems that it might. Yeah, you might.
Well, that seems to amuse the audience. Could it ever make me happy? It could. Might it change me in any way?
What do you mean by that, Mr. Allen?
What do you mean, what do I mean?
What do you mean by what I mean? You don't mean that you think you mean.
Would it change me in any little way at all?
Yes, I think so.
It would. Would it possibly change my appearance? I assume from the audience reaction that changing people's appearance is not your primary function. Is that right?
Yes, that is not the primary function, no.
Yes. All right. Might what you do then change or affect people's health?
Yes.
It might, yes.
Well, would this change, whatever it is, be something that would be immediately apparent to my friends if...
Are you talking about the change? Are you talking about the change in health, or the change in appearance, or the change in what?
Well, I'm talking about the apparent change.
The change in apparent change. Well, we'll have a small conference.
Have a big one. I have nothing on my mind. Off they go into the wild blue yonder. And now here they come back with the latest returns.
Since we're somewhat confused about what it is you're trying to get at, we'll give you a qualified yes.
Well, I'll just take a stab at it. Might nearsighted people ever come to you? Thanks a lot, and I wonder why. Could what you do improve my eyesight at all?
That's a no answer. 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Benson.
Do you work outdoors at all, Mrs. Reed?
Sometimes.
Is there any gaiety or hilarity in any way connected with the kind of work you do? Do people feel very gay about the kind of job you have? It inspires gaiety in the audience. Would it inspire it in the people that might come to you?
Well, I think I'd say this, and I think Mrs. agreed with me, that Mrs. Reed would agree that in the process of her services, it's possible that there might be the implementation of some kind of games or things like that, which would, you know,
do you ever touch the people you come into contact with?
No.
Not for the purposes of the service. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Sir.
Mrs. Reed, is there any kind of a liquid connected with what you do?
No.
No, not
Not-
specifically.
not at
No,
all.
we all absorb a certain amount of water every day, but we'll set that down. That's
Wasn't
3 down
thinking
and
of
7 to
water.
go, Miss Kilgallen.
Could women as well as men, like Steve, enjoy your services? Yes. Might I ever become involved with what you do? Yes. Would it be more usual for grown-ups to seek your services or come in contact with you than children?
Would it be more like grown-ups than children?
Yes,
I would think
yes.
so, yes.
Would both sexes ever be connected with you at the same time or connected with your services? Yes, yes. You sometimes perform your services indoors? Yes. Do more than 1 or 2 people at a time ever watch you do what you're doing? Yes. Is it customary for you to perform your services with, say, a group of 10 or 20 people looking on? Yes.
Could be.
Yes. Are they... do you, however, perform your services for one specific person at a time, even though others might be watching? No.
No, I don't think so. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Allen.
Is there something physical in what you do? I mean, out of the ordinary, such as more than typewriting or something of that sort?
No.
No, I don't think so. 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Francis.
Does your place have any, or wherever it is you work, would it have anything to do with a health resort of any kind? Does health really come into it in an important way?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
Would people that are at your place go there, would it be a seasonal kind of place? I mean, would you do better business, let us say, in the spring or the summer than you might do in the winter?
Yes.
Yeah, I would think so. Winter, we could, I think, more or less rule out. You know, if
No.
it was a severe winter, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Are the people that come to you dressed, are the people that come to you hardly what you might say be dressed at all?
Are they not dressed at all?
When they come,
dressed.
I mean, we got such a laugh out of the way they might be dressed that I thought maybe they might not be.
No, but actually not for themselves. I think we'd have to give you a yes. For
Well, do you have, Dorothy, I don't think you'd go.
I'd go with her, I tell you that.
Do you operate some sort of a nudist colony?
Actually, Mrs. Reed, I think, would accept that general classification, but she prefers the designation a nudist park. That's actually what she runs down in
A
Pennsylvania.
nudist colony is no longer polite. It's a nudist park resort.
Oh, when you
Nudist
park,
park.
it's all right.
It's an air park.
Well, now, Mrs. Reed, let's see. You did fairly well with the prizes, and may we thank you for being our guest and What's My Line. It was nice to meet you. Good night.